Let's be honest for a second. We are all so tired. We're tired of the noise, the yelling, the constant, dizzying spin of the news cycle, and the feuds that feel like they've been raging since the dawn of time. And at the absolute center of that exhaustion, there's the long history between late-night comedy and Donald Trump. So, when the former president, 79, took to Truth Social this past weekend to unleash another signature tirade, most of us just reflexively sighed. This time, his target was late-night host Seth Meyers, 51. And the insults. They were classic. Trump called Meyers a truly deranged lunatic. He claimed Seth was the least talented person to perform live in the history of television. It's the kind of over-the-top, cartoonish villainy that we've all become numb to. It's just noise. It's what he does. And for a moment, it felt like just another drop in the ocean of bizarre grievances. But then, there was the third insult. And folks, this one was special. Trump accused Meyers of talking endlessly about electric catapults on aircraft carriers. What? Exactly. We all had to read that one twice. Electric catapults on aircraft carriers? This wasn't just a low-effort jab. This was a journey into the specifics, a deeply weird, oddly detailed accusation that left everyone, including Seth Meyers himself, completely baffled. And on Monday night, Meyers decided he had enough. Not of the deranged lunatic part, not of the least talented part. He was done, absolutely done, being slandered on the subject of naval launch systems. This is where the story gets good. The burden of the receipts. Seth kicked off his segment like a man trying to be the adult in the room. He faced the camera, acknowledged the rant, and immediately put it in perspective. Now, the president jeopardizing food assistance for tens of millions of Americans matters. Seth started, his voice serious. He was making a crucial point. In the grand scheme of things, who cares? Real-world policy affects real people. A billionaire's online tantrum, that should be meaningless. What matters far less, he continued, is when the president posts about me. He listed the insults, brushing past deranged lunatic and least talented. He was following, as he put it, the New Yorker's creed of just ignoring the ranting and raving because they'll eventually move on. But you could see the shift. You could feel the butt coming. But there is one thing that I simply have to address, Seth said, a perfect comedic twinkle in his eye. The audience leaned in. You can say I'm untalented, you can say I'm deranged, but I'm not the one who talks endlessly about catapults on aircraft carriers. You're the one who talks endlessly about catapults on aircraft carriers. And then, the heavens parted, the choir sang, and Seth Meyers did what he does best. He rolled the tape. What followed was a magnificent, jaw-dropping montage of clips, stretching back to 2019 of Donald Trump, and only Donald Trump, talking, endlessly about catapults on aircraft carriers. We saw him complaining about them, questioning them, and bringing them up at the most random times. Until you said something, I didn't even know aircraft carriers had catapults. Seth declared, his voice full of exasperated triumph. I'm not the talk about catapult guy. This is the very definition of projection, and Seth had the receipts to prove it. It was a moment of pure, unadulterated gotcha that was so specific, so absurd, and so perfectly executed that you couldn't help but laugh. It was never just about the catapults, but the segment wasn't just a victory lap. It was a surgical dissection of why these interactions are so draining. After proving his innocence on all catapult-related charges, Seth landed one of the sharpest, quietest daggers of the night. He needed to explain why he's not the catapult guy. Just ask my friends, he said, before pausing. Friends are, how would I describe this to you? They're like people who enjoy spending time with you independent of financial and legal favors you can grant them. Oof. In one sentence, he cut straight to the bone. He didn't just counter the insults, he highlighted the lonely, transactional world his accuser lives in. But it was his conclusion that hit the hardest because it's something we've all felt. He joked that he'd probably wake up to a new post accusing him of won't stop talking about the White House bathrooms. Then, he dropped the act. The smile faded, and he spoke from the heart. I say this with sincerity. I don't want to talk about catapults. I don't want to talk about bathrooms, and I'm realizing that I'm starting to sound like a deranged lunatic, but that's what you do to us. And that right there is the crux of it all. You make us talk about what you're talking about, and then we all sound crazy. Have you ever been in an argument with someone where the premise is so far removed from reality, so utterly nonsensical, that just by engaging with it, you feel like you're losing your mind? That's the catapult experience. It's the feeling of having to say, "No, I am not obsessed with naval launch systems," and hearing yourself say it, and realizing how absolutely insane that sentence is. This isn't just a spat between a comedian and a politician. It's a perfect metaphor for the last decade. It's about the exhaustion of having to live in a world where you are constantly forced to debate a non-existent reality, to debunk things that are self-evidently absurd. Seth Meyers wasn't just defending himself, he was defending all of us. He was defending sanity itself. He took an accusation so bizarre it could have only come from one person, and instead of just laughing it off, he proved it. He proved, with receipts, exactly who was obsessed, who was projecting, and who was, for lack of a better word, the catapult guy. It was a small victory in the grand scheme of things. But in a world that feels increasingly unhinged, watching someone calmly and methodically use facts, clips, and logic to defuse a bomb of pure absurdity, it felt good. It felt like, just for a moment, the world made sense again. So yeah, you can call Seth Meyers untalented, you can call him deranged. But after Monday night, one thing is crystal clear. He is not the one talking about catapults, and thank God someone finally said it.